Where is home? The desire for security, belonging, for a place to call home is common to everyone on the planet. We feel we know who we are if we know where we belong. A land and a culture help inform our identity. It tells us about who we are and how to be. Each of us are born into two worlds. We are born into a physical environment and we are born into a psychological environment. And that landscape can be vastly different depending upon which part of the world we are born into. For the individuals who embark on a journey of migration, the experience can be profound. Where is home, and how do we find it? That search can take people on tremendous global journeys.
We're all travelers in this life. And we shape in our soul by experiences. There's a mystical side to migration.
The history of migration is not one people, one country, one culture, or one story.
I'm a migrant. I can connect with you. Other migrants are just like me. It gives me an understanding for other cultures.
For you, the term migrant, how much do you own that in your life?
I don't feel like a migrant until someone like you brings it up.
Alex lives and runs a small business in Mount Eliza, a quiet, bayside suburb with a village atmosphere on the outskirts of the city of Melbourne. Alex has established a home from one side of the planet to the other. It's quite a shift from Scotland to a place where the bush meets the sea.
I've travelled extensively. I've been to some of the States, all over Europe, Cuba, here down in Malaysia and Thailand and India extensively. But I've never been to Australia.
Like a lot of other migrants, her life has become a bridge between two worlds.
Just love new places. I love to travel. I love new cultures and I love meeting people. I love being in amongst unusual places. It made me want to be an adventurer in that I wanted to see more of the world. I left Scotland for love. You know, I was kind of dragged out here by the hair, the other side of the world, and I met the love of my life in Scotland. Nearly 10 years ago now, I met my now husband, Ross, and fell in love after a couple of days.
And where was that couple of days? Where did that happen?
It happened in Edinburgh, and so I met him in the Dome Bar on George Street on the eve of my birthday. Him and his friends had arrived from Australia, and they asked to join our company. And I said no. And he hounded me all night, actually. We ended up together, and I followed him to Europe a week later. And he came to see me in Scotland Easter that year, and again June that year. It was just instant. He won me over, and that was it.
And so therefore your heart just led you out of your...
It was totally a heart thing. I was always the girl in the family that was never going to leave Scotland. I'm the eldest of six siblings, the oldest daughter. and I was always the one that was never going to leave. Celtic heritage, because my parents are Irish, but I do have a real passion for where I was born, of course. It's where my heart is. It's half my heart's there and half my heart's here now, if that makes any sense. I still have family there, but certainly it's in my heart, absolutely, yeah. I run a barber shop. I often I look Irish, I sound Irish. I get that a lot because of my Irish background. Irishisms sometimes come out, depends. I never ever take offence at that. They'll say, oh, you're Irish, and I'll say, well, I won't deny it, my parents are Irish, so it's in me. But certainly, I feel Scottish because I was born there. Anytime I think of home, I think of my homeland, I think of Edinburgh, I think of going for drives up to the Highlands, fishing beside Loch Lomond with my best mate, Marisa, and walking along Princess Street and looking at the castle and having a real tug at my heart about it.
Would you say you're a migrant?
Yeah, in a way. I don't feel like a migrant. It didn't matter where I was in the world, I was going to be with him. Anyway, I just fell in love with the place, and when I came, that was it. I fell in love with it instantly.
Your husband was originally born in Scotland?
No, his parents were born in Scotland. They migrated out here in '68. His father came out here to play soccer.
And do you think you relate to him because he's still got that Scottish inheritance?
Yeah, he understood me. He got me.
You mean
he got me.
Literally understood the accent? Or understood?
Yeah, he got me. He got the accent, hopefully, as well. Yeah, it helped. Yeah.
But is there something about being Scottish that he has to understand, that he does understand? And what is that?
We're a bit fiery as Scots. We're a bit fiery, we're a bit passionate. And I think you don't have to be from that background, but he didn't judge me. He took me on. Warts and all. He just got me.
So now you live in another part of the world.
Yeah.
How do you resolve the difference in culture? Do you see differences, and what are they?
The only difference I would say would be that when you come here, when you come from somewhere like Scotland, there's a real pub culture. We all go out a lot, and most counties and towns have got a local pub you go to, and it's called your local because you can walk in there and there can be 5 people at the bar that are there day and night, and you know them by name. It doesn't matter what time of the year you go in, it's a local, and you know each other. We're here, there's nothing like that really, not in these little suburbs. It's more of you'll go to each other's houses for dinner and drinks. It doesn't happen, the pub thing doesn't happen here. I really felt that strongly, and was quite put out by it, really. What that pub thing happening, and it's not really happened here. I'd say it would happen in the city more, big cities, but these small communities, it's more of a kind of going to each other's houses. Which is fine to have embraced it. It took me a while though, it took me a long time. Didn't like it.
What was it? Made you feel uncomfortable?
I just thought it was different. I just thought, how antisocial are you? Not going to the pub for a drink? What's wrong with you? It's just weird. You'd go into a pub and there's different people every time you went into a pub down the road here. I'm sure they've got the regulars, but back home it was, you just knew everyone. I went back home this year, early April, to see my family and friends, and I went to the local pub, the Gray's Mill. And there was 2 or 3 boys that have always been there, still sitting there, said to me, "Hi Alex, how you doing?" I said, "Oh yeah, good, what are you up to?" I said, "I'm just home on holiday." "Where from?" I said, "From Australia." "Oh yeah, you were in Australia, didn't you? I forgot about that." "Oh yeah, how's it going?" And I had that said to me probably half a dozen times within 5 minutes. It was hilarious, honestly. It was like, you know, it was like I'd never left, and it was really nice.
Do you have that sense of community in this culture?
My shop, absolutely.
Were you running a same sort of business?
I was running, it's more salon across there, and in a bigger environment. It wasn't quite as low-key as this Mount Eliza village. Here it's such a small place, but you know everyone. Everyone just embraced me as soon as I opened the shop. It was brilliant. I was made to feel at home within a week. I think if you put yourself out there, which is what I've always done, you know, I stand at the door and I talk to everyone and I talk to all the dogs, and it's a real community thing. Everyone looks after each other here. It's a real community feel about the place, no matter where you come from. They'll tease you, they're always teasing me, I can take that, but they get it right back.
So, being here, do you know people from more cultures?
Yeah, definitely. Well, to be honest, and I know you English people won't mind me saying this, there's a huge English community in Mount Eliza.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never met so many English people since I came here. And I would also say that I've not met so many South African people.
Okay.
There's quite a few South African people in the village.
So you would have friends from other cultures here?
Yeah, definitely.
That you wouldn't have had if you'd stayed
Yeah,
here?
definitely. I wouldn't have had anywhere near as many English friends that I've got, and Chilean friends, and South African, and German. I've got a couple of gorgeous German friends here.
Do you think you have something in common with them because they are migrants? Do you feel that's possible?
It's there. It's definitely there. But do we hold on to that? I don't think so. I don't think that's why I'm friends with them. I think more often than not, you'll reach out for each other. Depending on your age as well. Depends on your age. I came out here quite late. You know, I didn't come out here. I don't mind saying my age. When I was 40, I just literally turned 40. So I'd left all my friends behind that I'd grown up with and become very close to and trusted each other, and I had to come back out here again and rebuild all that. That was a bit, yeah. It took a while to, you know.
But that gave you a sense of being an adventurer, and therefore maybe you have that in common with other people?
Yeah, definitely. It was more like you kind of understood that you needed each other because you don't have family, so that your friends become your family very quickly.
Did you feel restricted being Scottish in Scotland?
Maybe that's why I travelled so much.
Relocation shifts the boundaries of our lives. Shedding one home for another is a major undertaking for anyone, even if there is no language barrier.
Have you changed because you migrated?
Definitely.
Can you explain that?
Because I've been embraced the way I've been embraced by the community here. You feel loved, and that's going to lift your confidence straight away. Not in a cocky way, just the fact that, you know, you're not trying to be something, you're just being yourself. Because you're being yourself completely, people appreciate that, and you're more relaxed around people. It's just it's a confidence thing, definitely.
And you wouldn't have got that if you'd stayed in your homeland?
I'll say I don't know if I would have, because I'd already established myself as a woman, the age I was. But I came out here as someone in their 40s, and I hadn't been in my 40s in Scotland. So I came out here in my 40s, and you go through enough things when you get into your 40s, you know. But I'd come out here, everything was brand spanking new, and a new husband, new stepson, and a new business within a year. It was a huge thing, you know, and everything's kind of put on you very quickly, and you've got to kind of build your confidence up very quickly.
So therefore you have to be more open because culturally you've shifted?
This whole culture here is just so more relaxed anyway. Australian people, for me, are just more relaxed. So for as much as I love my country of birth, because I've gone through so much in recent years, there's a kind of element of gloom at the moment. It's starting to lift now, but for many years, since the recession, things were a bit flat across there, and you could feel it when you were going home, because I used to go home quite a lot. And you felt that it was quite depressing, if you let it. But when you come here, I don't know if it's the sunshine, it could be that that's got a bit to do with it. But there just seems to be a happier feel about the place.
Staying in the one place and being part of a culture for a long time that's been extant for a long time. In the Scottish environment, is there a certain feeling of restriction culturally?
Yeah, oh yeah, I guess, yeah. You get kind of stuck in a rut.
Did you feel restricted being Scottish in Scotland?
Maybe that's why I travelled so much. Restricted is probably, yeah, you kind of feel, if you don't get out, you could get hemmed in. Because a lot of people, especially in small villages, they're the world over, I'm sure, but I know for a fact there's little islands in Scotland that people have never left. They grew up, they've never left. Edinburgh's more of a community, multicultural city. There's no doubt about that. It's famous for it. But it'd be quite easy to get very patriotic, and it was. But I've got to take my patriotism with me.
You're in a village now, is it the same as a Scottish village? And what's the difference?
Yeah, it'd be the same. It'd be the same. It's, people are, you still got your butcher, your candlestick maker, your barber shop. They're all still here.
But it's a more of suburban life than it is village life in Scotland?
Depending where you are. The peninsula is different. You know, when you're beside the water, and it's more of a kind of beachy feel to it on one side. Country on the other. I'm kind of stuck in the middle here.
Yeah.
So you've got elements of both sides happening here. It's a growing community. There's so many different people coming through the village now that you're meeting different people all the time.
Did you ever imagine that you'd be living in a part of the world where you can go down the beach and spend the day there?
Never in my wildest dreams. Never. Never. No. For as much as it was easy to drive to a beach in Scotland, I live 5 minutes away from the beach here. And the dogs get taken for walks down there. And we're only an hour away from the city. But never in my wildest dreams, never.
So that brings a certain joy and openness to your existence?
Yeah, because I've always loved being beside water. And I've got that wish. And I've got a bit of everything, really. I've got everything here.
Culture, put simply, is a way of life. A vision of the world and a way to be in it. Most of us never need to question our way of life. But that questioning confronts most migrants when they shift from one country to another, from one way of life to another. Migration is a transformative experience. It can afford individuals an opportunity to expand their horizons. Where travel might broaden the mind, relocation shifts the boundaries of our lives. Culture does not define who we are. One of the benefits of the increase in tourism has been to open windows and our minds onto the lives of others. Culture is informed by geographic location, defined and designed by tradition, passed down from generation to generation. But does it define exactly who we are? Just a suburb away from Alex, Colin is an emigrant from Tyneside, a region close to Scotland in the UK.
I'm Colin. I was born in Newcastle upon Tyne. They'd never understand where I'm from anyway. They always assume I'm Celtic. So I get Irish, Scottish, Welsh, and they're like, oh, you're from England. So you always have that side of things. And that would be my identity in the first interaction with people. Going back to my early days in Newcastle, I was travelling. I did the usual thing which everybody in Newcastle did. You go to the Mediterranean for your holidays. I got very bored very quickly with that, and just, I wanted something different. Lying on a beach, sitting in the sun is not for me. A lot of people go through their life doing that, but I just think it's individual challenges which build you as a person. You could either ignore that option. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to explore. There's a bigger world out there. What's out there?
Is being a migrant a transitory experience, or is it actually part of a solid identity?
I'm aware that I am a migrant, and I'm aware of conversations which I have, which constantly, it's constantly there. I suppose I'd never even thought about it being as my identity, and it probably is. And there's, as you say, there's nothing wrong with being a migrant, especially, somewhere like here, because, it's full of us, basically. One of the weird things I just saw recently, which had never even crossed my mind, because you see a map of the world and you always see the UK in the centre of it. And then I was in a shop recently and I was like, Australia was in the centre of it. And I'm thinking, that's not right. What's going on here? So I definitely think it's a bit of... London definitely feels as though they're the centre of the universe. And I suppose New York does... So, the centre of the universe is probably in the middle of the two. So I definitely think that. A lot of British people think like that. And I think that's part of the problem when a lot of people migrate. You lose that element, I think, particularly if you're over in the Antipodes, because it's a lot more remote and you don't have access to the wide range of things that you would have in the UK. The remoteness, I think, is a big problem for people who are used to living in the UK. You are in the centre of things. Everything is easy. I live my life. I live it the best way I can. I would adapt to situations. I mean, I get frustrated that things don't happen easy here, but that's life.
In our next program, Colin tells his story and shares his own perspective on the journey of migration. If you believe you have an interesting migration story to tell, contact us at this email address. We'd like to represent as many nationalities as possible in this program.